Although the Sandia 1200 PSI machine comes with two 12 gauge, 3-wire, 25-foot safety cords. They must be installed in separate and distinct circuits in order to work. These have to be dedicated 20 amp circuit. We are now hooking up to 12-3 25-foot safety cables. And make sure this is called a dump valve, that this dump valve is closed, or else you will not get vacuum. There's another very important part of this vacuum is this recovery lid has to be closed and sealed as well. Okay, Sandia 1200 PSI machine comes with a variety of accessory hoses. This is for your wastewater. I'll show you where it hooks up in a minute. This is to fill your tank up, so it's continuous operation. This hose goes from the machine to your spinner tool. This hose is your vacuum from the spinner tool back to the recovery tank. And very importantly, this is the priming hose for the 1200 PSI pump. You're using this machine or any extractor to use Defoamer in the recovery tank, one capful at a time. This prevents bubbles being sucked into the vacuum motors. Okay? Hook up the water hose to fill the solution tank with solution in water or just clean water. The machine comes with a set of tips for different proportions, ratios of ounces of cleaning solutions per gallon of water. Comes with one installed already. You simply insert the end of the hose into the chemicals. It does not need to be sealed. First one is for the first vacuum motor, second vacuum motor, 1200 PSI pump, and the sump pump, which empties your tank. The important stop is priming the pump. You hook up your male connect, quick connect to the female on the machine. You got to hear it snap. Just snapped. You bend it over so that it's in the vacuum hose, and you turn on your vacuum and your pump. 1, 2, 3. You make a seal with your hand, and you watch for water going through here. Once the water goes clean, no bubbles, the pump is primed. The pump has been primed. Simply remove the priming hose, set it aside, and now we're ready to operate. The pump has been primed. We put solution in the tank. We put a metering tip inside a gallon of chemical. Now we're ready to attach the other hoses. Okay. The incoming water hose has already been attached. That goes right to your spigot. So this 50-foot hose attaches from your spigot directly to the tank of the machine with a QD. You must hear it snap in place. Last hose is called the solution hose. It goes from the machine to your spinner tool. Once again, you got to listen for that snap. Okay, it's now firmly in place. And the other end of that hose goes to your spinner tool. Do that snap. I'd like to stand behind it so you could force it at you. So Patricio's standing behind the machine so you could force that vacuum hose onto the hose bar. The other end of the hose goes to this wand. Okay. The machine has water in the solution tank. The machine has metering tip installed into the chemicals, and we're ready to run this 12-inch spinner tool. I find it easier to go backwards, so you go to the furthest point. First you got to turn the machine on. Oh, you got to let it turn on the pump. both vacuum motors and the waste on the waste. And you simply squeeze. See how clean it is after you drag your tool right over the dirty concrete. When you're done, you release you drag your tool till you go past the last place you put solution out. So this is where all your vacuum happens. These little inner ring right here. And meanwhile, this thing's spinning at 100 miles an hour, dispensing solution down, and this vacuum ring sucks up the water. So after operation, it's very important to relieve the pressure, because the 1200 PSI has got all the water going through these hoses. Relieve the pressure by, after it's off, by pulling the trigger one last time. And you relieve the pressure. This allows you to unhook the QDs. When the job is complete, you need to empty the solution tank. So you take your vacuum hose and unhook it from the spinner tool, put your vacuum hose right into the tank, turn on both vacuum motors, and that's gonna suck all the water out of the tank. Turn on your waste pump only after you vacuumed out your solution tank, and right behind you is the water being taken from the recovery tank to your drain. You need to empty the recovery tank and clean it out. First thing you do is remove the lid. Second thing is to unhook both electrical cords and go to your floor drain and pull up the dump valve. You may need to tip the machine to get all the water out. Then we suggest you rinse it out with the hose and water from your spigot to clean out all the debris. The maintenance of this extractor is to clean the filters after every use. So this is called the candy cane filter, because it looks like a candy cane. You'd unscrew this little cage. Inside the cage is a weighted ball. The use is when the water in the tank fills up, the ball rises and cuts off oxygen to the vacuum motors. You'll hear a very distinct, different pitch of the vacuum motors. Then you know it's time to empty your tanks. And you need to clean this cage. You need to take all the lint and any debris that came from the ground and clean it out. Very important. When you store your machine, you want to leave the lid open, the dump valve open, and so everything can air dry, so to reduce odors. Important filter to clean after every use. You'd unhook the snap that holds our tanks together. You tip, after the tanks are empty, you tip the machine open, and you can see inside there we have the pump, the two vacuum motors. Another important filter, it's in between the solution tank and the pump, and to make sure that it takes out any debris that might be in the solution tank. This little H2O filter needs to be cleaned out every time. It has a screen that could be removed and blown out with compressed air, and just wiped down with a clean rag. Then you would attach it back, ready for the next use.